Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. So it's finally here. Apple has just dropped the public beta for iOS 26 and I've been running it on my daily driver for a bit now. And I have to say, wow. The first thing you notice, the very first thing, is this new liquid glass design. Apple called it their biggest design change since iOS 7 at WWDC 2025. And honestly, they weren't exaggerating. It feels different. It feels new. So in this video, we're gonna do a deep dive. I'm gonna walk you through everything you need to try first. We'll start with that stunning new design, of course. Then we'll get into the awesome new customization on the lock screen and home screen. Yes, you can finally resize that clock. We'll look at the huge redesigns for the photos and camera apps. Apple actually listened to us on that one. We'll touch on some of the genuinely useful new Apple Intelligence features that are now available, and most importantly, we'll cover the big question, the stability, the bugs, and whether you should actually install this on your main iPhone. So stick around for that, it's really important. Alright, let's not waste any more time, let's jump right in and start with the most obvious, most talked about change. This whole liquid glass thing. What is it and what does it feel like to actually use? Okay, so liquid glass, it's a lot. Apple's official line is that it combines the optical qualities of glass with a fluidity that transforms based on context. And you know, marketing speak aside, that's actually a pretty good description. Think translucent, layered, and dynamic. Buttons, menus, notifications, they all have this semi-transparent glassy feel. They reflect and refract the colors of your wallpaper and the content behind them. When you move your phone, you see these subtle specular highlights like light glinting off real glass. It's designed to make the whole OS feel more alive and in a way more integrated with your content. And it's everywhere. You see it right away in the control center, which now has this floating layered look. Notifications are translucent. The tab bars in apps like Safari and Apple Music are now designed to float above the content and shrink down as you scroll, which actually does give you a bit more screen real estate. Even the app icons and widgets on the home screen are crafted from what Apple calls multiple layers of liquid glass. It's a really cohesive design language that, for the first time in a while, makes the iPhone, iPad, and even Mac feel like they're all part of the same visual family. Now, here's something really interesting for you beta watchers. The liquid glass you're seeing in this public beta is not what developers first got. The initial developer betas were controversial. A lot of people, myself included, found the transparency effects to be way too aggressive. On a busy background, notifications and buttons were almost impossible to read. There was a big outcry from the community. In Beta 3, Apple swung the pendulum way back, making everything more opaque and frosted, which led to complaints that they'd killed the whole aesthetic. This public beta, which is based on developer beta 4, feels like a compromise. They've brought back some of that beautiful translucency, especially in app navigation bars, but in a more balanced way that maintains legibility. It really shows that Apple is listening to feedback during this beta process, which is great to see. Let's move on to the lock screen because there are some really fun new toys here. First up, the clock. You can finally resize it. When you go into the customization view, you just grab this little handle and you can stretch it vertically to make it huge and much more legible from a distance. It's also adaptive. With certain photo wallpapers, the clock will dynamically resize and nestle into the scene to keep the subject of your photo in view, especially as notifications come in. It's a really clever touch. But the coolest new feature here is spatial scenes. This uses on-device AI to take any of your regular 2D photos and turn it into a 3D-like wallpaper. It separates the foreground from the background, and when you tilt your phone, the image moves with this incredible depth effect. It's like a little piece of the Vision Pro right on your iPhone. Over on the home screen, the changes continue. First, you'll see all the system app icons have been updated with that layered liquid glass effect. But the real fun starts when you long press to edit your home screen. Remember how iOS 18 gave us tinted icons? Well, iOS 26 takes it further. The tinted option now has a much glassier, more reflective look. But the big new one is an option called Clear. Tapping this makes all your app icons and widgets completely transparent like little panes of glass. They reflect your wallpaper and it creates this super futuristic, clean aesthetic. It can affect legibility on some wallpapers, but there are accessibility settings like reduced transparency to help with that if you need it. Okay, let's talk about the Photos app. If you used iOS 18, you probably have opinions about the single screen layout. A lot of people found it cluttered and confusing. Well, Apple listened. In iOS 26, they've brought back tabs. It's a much cleaner two-tab design now. Library and collections Library is your classic grid of all your photos. Collections is where all those curated sections from iOS 18 now live. Your albums, media types, memories, and so on. It is so much easier to navigate. This is a huge quality of life improvement and a great example of Apple course correcting based on user feedback. The camera app also got a major facelift, and the goal here was clearly simplification. When you first open it, the interface is incredibly minimal. Instead of that long carousel of modes, you just see two main tabs at the bottom, photo and video. Now don't panic, all the other modes like portrait, pano, and cinematic are still there. You just swipe left or right on the screen to get to them, just like before. The settings that used to be at the top of the screen are now tucked into these clean pop-out menus. You just tap on the mode name like photo and you get big, easy to tap buttons for flash, timer, aspect ratio, and more. It definitely helps you focus on just framing your shot. Just a quick one on the settings app because it's a change you'll appreciate every single day. The search bar is now at the bottom of the screen. If you have a Pro Max phone, this is a game changer. No more awkward hand gymnastics to reach the top of the display. It's a small thing, but it shows Apple is still thinking about the ergonomics of using these larger devices. Apple Intelligence, which is Apple's take on AI, is getting more powerful in iOS 26, but it's still focused on on-device processing for privacy. A couple of new features really stand out. First, in the phone app, there's call screening. When you get a call from an unknown number, your iPhone can automatically answer it and ask the caller for their name and why they're calling. You see a live transcript on your screen and can decide whether to pick up. It's an amazing spam filter. The other big one is in the battery settings. It's called adaptive power mode. This is different from the regular low power mode. It's an AI powered feature that learns your usage habits. When it detects you're using your phone more heavily than usual, it will make small subtle adjustments in the background, like slightly dimming the screen or letting some background tasks take a little longer to extend your battery life without you really noticing. The catch? Because it relies on Apple Intelligence, this is only available on the iPhone 15 Pro and newer models. And this is probably the most wow feature for me. Apple calls it visual intelligence, but you can think of it like their version of circle to search. It's so cool. Watch this. I'll just take a screenshot of, say, this web page. Now, when I tap the screenshot preview, I get new options at the bottom. I can tap image search and then just draw a circle around this pair of sneakers. I swipe up and boom, it can search Google Images, Etsy, or other apps to find that exact product. But it's more than that. I can also tap Ask and literally ask ChatGPT a question about what's in the screenshot. Or if the screenshot has event details, it will recognize that and offer to add it directly to my calendar, pre-filling the date and time. It's incredibly powerful and integrated right into the OS. Okay, we've seen all the cool new stuff and now we come to the most important part of the video. I know it's tempting to jump in, but we need to have a serious, friendly chat. This is a beta. That means it is unfinished pre-release software. The whole point of a public beta is for Apple to find bugs on a wider scale before the official release in the fall. Things can and will go wrong. So how is it? Well, the good news is that this first public beta is way more stable than the early developer betas were. Many users are reporting that it's surprisingly smooth. However, it's still a mixed bag. I've been digging through Reddit forums and tech sites, and here's the consensus. Battery drain is the most common complaint, especially for the first day or two after installing as your phone re-indexes everything. Some users on iPhone 15s are reporting needing to charge 2-3 times a day. Overheating can also be an issue, particularly when doing intensive tasks like customizing wallpapers. You'll also encounter visual glitches, weird animations, buttons not rendering correctly, elements overlapping. While it's better, it's definitely not perfect. And this is the biggest risk, especially if you're installing this on your main phone. Some of your apps will not work correctly. This is especially true for apps with high security like banking and financial apps. They often have checks that fail on unrecognized beta software. I've seen reports of banking apps being incredibly slow, crashing, or just refusing to log in at all. While some users report their banking apps work fine, you cannot guarantee yours will. If you rely on your phone for mobile banking, payments, or even airline apps like Delta, which was broken in an early beta, you need to think twice. So what's my final advice? If you are a developer or a tech enthusiast who is comfortable with troubleshooting and has a full archived backup of your device, then go for it. It's a fascinating look at the future of iOS, But if this is your only phone, the one you rely on for work, school, or critical tasks like banking, I would strongly recommend you wait. The public beta is much better, but the risks are still very real. The safest bet is to wait for the official release in September. If you absolutely must try it, please do it on a secondary device if you have one. So there you have it. iOS 26 is without a doubt one of the most visually ambitious and feature-rich updates we've seen in years. The liquid glass design is beautiful, the new customization options are genuinely fun, and the Apple Intelligence features are starting to feel truly smart and useful. The public beta is a huge step in the right direction in terms of stability, but it's still a beta. It's an exciting preview, but one that comes with homework and risk. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. Are you going to install the public beta? What feature are you most excited about? Let me know down in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, a like would be amazing, and be sure to subscribe for more deep dives as we get closer to the final release. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.